What I don't typically talk about a lot is how difficult it was to homeschool two different kids on two different levels, two different age groups. So at the time, I had I believe, 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Motherhood Makeup and Mindset. Today, I wanted to take you all on the journey with me as I get ready to host my first homeschool meetup, while I give you a little bit more of a backstory into how my experience as a first-time homeschooler was during the pandemic. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Destiny. I am a wife of 10 years, a mama of 3 amazing children, a homeschool mama, a life coach, a makeup artist, and everything that I do within my business is to serve and support moms that are going through situations very similar to mine or situations that I've already been in. And with that comes makeup lessons, quick makeup lessons, because we really don't have time to do a full glam all the time, but pouring back into ourselves is super important. So I teach moms how to do their makeup quickly, and I also teach them how to continue to achieve their goals, even though our roles as mom and wife and everything else that we have are time consuming. We can still find time to do the things that God has created us to do. Now, all of that might sound great, right? But it took me a long time to get to the point where I was following my dreams and following the vision and the plan that God had for me. It was one point where I was a homeschool mom and I was very miserable. I was unsure of who Destiny was, and it took for me to get to a really low point to realize that some things needed to change, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. So I'd like to start this story with explaining to you that the first time that I homeschooled, it was due to the pandemic. I'd been let go from my job as a paralegal, and all of the schools were shut down. We were all stuck home trying to figure out what in the world was a pandemic, what was COVID, what is happening, right? And the kids were all going virtual. But when I realized that the virtual schedule was just all over the place and it was really interrupting what I was trying to navigate through as a family, it was like a no-brainer. Like, no, I could just do this by myself, you know? So after talking to my family and also finding out that we were pregnant again, we decided that we would homeschool the girls until the pandemic resolved itself. Started to homeschool, I was maybe a little too excited to get started because I turned our entire dining room into a classroom. I really did not want our kids to feel like they were missing anything based off of the decision that we made that we felt was best for them. I had labels on the chairs. I had the little circle thing with the colors where the color pencils and the markers and the crayons go. I stayed up late one night to make posters to represent each one of their grades. There were sight word charts. There was a whiteboard. There was just rewards. Y'all, it was a lot. Although it felt like I was doing a lot, I also felt like I was giving them an opportunity to still have the classroom and school experience, even though we were stuck in the house. So my intentions were good, but the method might not have been the best. In my effort to keep things as close to school as possible, we also still had parent-teacher conferences where I had my husband schedule what day he was able to come and, kind of see what they've been learning, and we ordered pizza. It was a whole thing. I also found it really fun that there are so many national holidays that we don't actually celebrate, like National Donut Day, National Pizza Day, National Brownie Day. So of course, in true Destiny fashion, we did them. National Bring Your Teddy Bear to Class Day. Like, it was a whole thing. And I do think that the kids enjoyed those things as well, because it kind of brought a little bit of fun to our everyday learning. Now, what I don't typically talk about a lot is how difficult it was to homeschool 2 different kids on 2 different levels, 2 different age groups. So at the time, I had I believe, 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Now, my 6-year-old at the time loved the routines. We had everything from a calendar with the meals for the week or the month. They had Alexa telling them their schedule. Like, she was thriving off of that type of structure. My 3-year-old, however, was not with it at all. She would much rather get ready when she felt like it, ate when she felt like it, did the work that she felt like doing. And to be honest, it made it a little difficult to get through to her because, one, I was still trying to learn them, and I've learned since then that you really have to ask God for guidance when you're trying to learn and understand your children. But in addition to that, I was trying to force her to still follow the rules as if we were a classroom. So remember, I said I decorated everything. I was still trying to implement classroom rules and regulations, not really realizing that she was still 3, and trying to get her to sit at the table and, do the work until we're finished and things like that just was not working. And it took until this time that I've homeschooled, and a lot of prayer and a lot of asking God, what is it that I can do differently this time that will make this experience a lot better than the first, that I realized I can't expect like college level things from a 3-year-old. I mean, realistically, we're a bunch of adults and our attention spans are like this too, hence TikTok. So how can I expect a 3-year-old to sit at the table, do her work from this time to that time, and be okay with it? I couldn't. Realistically, stubborn or not, I could not expect her to do those things. In the midst of all of this, I was not a fan of asking for help. I felt like if I asked for help, then I was not giving myself the opportunity to prove that I could do this. Nobody asked for me to prove it. Nobody asked for me to be perfect, to be the perfect mom, perfect wife, perfect homeschool mom, perfect everything. But I put that amount of pressure on myself. Therefore, I didn't ask for help. I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't find any groups on Facebook. I was just trying to do it all. I wanted to make sure that I shared that piece of information because I know a lot of us, especially as moms, we feel like we have to do it all, and that if somebody helps us or if we don't do it, then it won't get done and it won't get done correctly. And that is not the right mindset to have, especially when you're taking on something as intense as homeschooling your kids and homeschooling multiple kids. So that is a lesson that I for sure had to learn because I felt like I was drowning trying to do everything on my own. Not only was I not asking for help, I was determined to make the curriculum myself. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I actually think that it worked out great. Our kids learned a whole lot, but what it did for me was add even more pressure when, again, I wasn't asking for help. I didn't know what curriculums were good. I didn't ask, you know what I mean? So I was making up everything on the fly. I was using workbooks. Everything literally was on me. And for some homeschool families, that's great. It works. But for me at the time, it did not, because that's not the amount of pressure that I needed to put on myself when there were plenty of other resources that were able to help me. In the midst of the chaos, remember, I'm not asking for help. I am trying to be the strong one because we're all going through a very, very intense time. I'm trying to be there for my children, for my husband, and I'm not being there for myself. So as a result, that puts me in a deficit, an energy deficit, a capacity deficit. I felt like I was spending all of my time pouring into everyone else and not into myself. And to be honest, a lot of that was my fault. Now, I say that it was my fault, not because I didn't need other people to help. It was my fault because I saw the signs and I felt like I saw it coming. I knew it. And because I wasn't asking for help, because I wasn't taking a moment, because I felt like I had to be perfect in everything that I was doing, it put me in this situation to the point where even if somebody had probably reached out, I wouldn't have accepted the help. It took me about 2 years to realize that I could not keep functioning like this. At that point, we had our son, and I'm now homeschooling 2 kids with an infant, and still in this very, very weird place of not knowing who I am, what my purpose is in life. It was definitely like, God, what do you want from me? Because I didn't know who I was, I didn't know how to explain to people what I needed. I didn't know how to explain to my husband what I needed. I didn't know how to relay any of this information to anybody other than to God, because I knew that at the very least, He could put the pieces together that I was not saying. So I got to a point where I was basically like, God, I need your help. I don't know who I am. I don't know what you want from me. I don't know. What am I here for? You know, like, my parents named me Destiny. My middle name is Faith. Clearly, there is something going on in the atmosphere, in the spirit realm. There is some purpose for me. There's some piece of magic that I'm just not, catching on to. And I do not want to continue wasting time. So after thinking, praying, still homeschooling, still trying to figure my life out, I talked to my husband one day and said, hey, I want to take up makeup again, but this time I actually want to be certified. I want to go back, get my certification, become a makeup artist, and try to help other moms see that they're still beautiful even after we have these babies. So what happened was God started showing me some of the gifts that I had put aside because I was too busy to do them now that I was a mom and a wife. He started to show me that I actually was creative. I still loved makeup because I had worked at a makeup counter before we had kids. I loved community. I loved when my friends and family got together. I loved having a support system. I loved all of these things, but I would see that desire for community, that desire to feel and look my best, that desire to help other moms had always been there, but had gotten hidden in my busy schedule and me kind of being caught up all up in myself. And a part of the story that I actually forgot to say is before I even started homeschooling them, my job had let me go. And the reason why they said they were letting me go was so that I could focus on my family. Now, y'all, what does that have to do with me doing my job? I don't know, but it took me that same 2 years. So I was fighting with a lot, as you can see. It took me that 2 years to really get over what they said and put it into perspective. Like, okay, you're right. I do need to focus on my family, but that's not going to stop me from also being what God has created me to be. Now, if we fast forward to today, I'm not only focusing on my family, I'm helping other moms do the same thing. So thank y'all. Thank you. But I didn't see that at first. I was hurt. I was confused. I was frustrated because at that time, my job was my identity. So I'm homeschooling now, trying to figure out who this new person is. What is my identity outside of being a paralegal? Outside of my accomplishments? Outside of what I can do? And finally asking God, what is it that He wanted me to do? So I go to makeup school, get my certification. Fast forward to 2024. I am not only a certified makeup artist and loving being able to help other moms learn how to do their makeup, but I also realized and remembered that there was a time where my makeup was not getting me to the point where I could listen to what God wanted me to do either. There was some internal work that I had to do, and there were some goals that I had to put into place first. Hence the life coaching. Hence the mommy mentoring, because I've been there. I've been at the point of I don't know who I am outside of my titles. I've been at the point where I just needed somebody to push me along the way and say, here you go. Thankfully, I went to God for that, and He has been guiding me in this direction. So today, I am so excited because you guys have just watched me get ready for my first homeschool meetup with some amazing moms that I have met very recently. God has literally put us in each other's paths. We're going to get together, let these kids have some fun. This is going to be a monthly meetup. And I'm so excited because I feel like everything is now coming full circle. And I couldn't have asked for more, to be honest. I could not have asked for God to put this together in a better way, because I was clueless, y'all. I was borderline hopeless. I really didn't know what it was I was supposed to be doing in life. Listen, I have to go finish getting ready, but I want every mom that is watching this to understand that we all have seasons of being like really high, really creative, really determined, really motivated. And then we also all have seasons where we're feeling down and out and like we can't do anything. Our schedules are just too much. Everybody is needing us. And guess what? It's normal. It is totally normal. But what I want you to understand is that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a way for you to get out of it. It might just be a schedule change. It might be minor adjustments. It might, surprisingly, it might be actually asking for help. It might be asking for help. I promise you that making tiny little changes first, asking God what it is that He wants you to see and the changes that He wants you to make, allowing help, adjusting your schedule, all the things that I just mentioned and more are small changes that really make a difference. This time, as we're homeschooling, I have a completely different outlook and a completely different experience with our family. And I must say, I think we can continue doing this just based off of these small changes. And if you're not a homeschool mom, the same rules apply. You can get through this. I promise you, you can. It might just be some small little things, some small details that you have to adjust. And I promise you, it's going to work out. You can follow your dreams, you can follow your goals, you can figure out who you are outside of your titles. I promise. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to like, subscribe, comment, share, you know the drill. All of the things that we need you to do so that other moms just like you can find this channel. I will be back with another episode, and as a matter of fact, in the comments, let me know what other additional information you guys want to know about my business, about our day-to-day life, about our homeschooling journey. Let me know in the comments what else you would like for us to make a video on. See you next time.